Okay, so in the module number 2 here, we learn about element of high quality program, right? So I expect that in your program, in this week assignment with the pseudocode or flowchart, you at least in your program you have to include something. The first thing you need to include at least the header command here, and the purpose of the header command is that to tell the follower what is the purpose of the program. I think about this one, right? This pseudocode is intended to describe computing daily cost for Soran in 30-day month, right? The second thing in your program here, I expect you to use a declaration. That's a declaration that means you define all of the constant and variables you in your program, right? So how can you define the constant and how can you define your variable? You look into the problem, right? The first step, you have understanding problem and you have to identify for this program, like what you need to do here. You need to figure out the daily cost. That is the output, right? And in order to figure out the daily cost, you need to get input from user for monthly rent, right? So basically, this very simple program, but you have to identify what are variable and what are constant in your program, right? So I have declaration here, right? In that I have one constant here, day per month 30, and for this program, right, I need one input monthly rent, and I have one output here, corporate, right? That's the second thing. Now the third one I want you to do with your program is that you use a prompt here, right? So you know that in this for module number 2 here, you learn about the prompt, right? You learn about the prompt. It's very important to use a prompt here because it makes more understandable, it's more comprehensive in your program, right? Here, the prompt here, right? So see, basically, right? You think about this one. I need to get input for name and get input for balance here. So basically for pseudocode, right? After declaration here, I can get input and name and balance here, but you should use a clear prompt in your program from now on because you learned it, right? So instead of getting the input name here, I need to use the prompt to tell user here, right? Output here, please enter customer name. After that, you store it into variable name here, right? And if you want to get the balance from user, you have the prompt here, please enter the balance due, and you need to store it into the variable balance here. The same with this one, right? The same with this one here. Thinking about basically for the first week, right? If you want to get input here, that's okay. But from now, from the week number 2 here, you learn a prompt. So I expect you have to include the prompt here, right? For the output also, right? So basically user print it out for this one here, right? Print it out for this one. The value of the cost per day is okay. But you can think about it. If you are the end user, it not really makes sense to you, right? So should be better you include some meaningful text here in the output, right? So to sum it up, I expect you to do the first thing about every pseudocode or flowchart program here. You include the header command. That's the first thing, right? You use the declaration here. You identify constant here, right? Constant and variable and the format, right? This is number format here. Monthly rent and cost per day, they are number format. The third one, I expect you to do with the prompt here, right? You use a meaningful prompt to tell user what to do, and also include the meaningful text in your in the output here, right? So you can see what happened with when I convert this one into the Python here, and you can see the meaning of the you can see the meaning of the prompt and so on here, right? So here, think about this one, right? So in Python here, I can use a hashtag here. That is the process I do with the comment header, right? I do with the comment here. Now in Python, right? This is a process of initialize the constant here, assignment here, right? And in the Python, I do not have to declare the variable before I zero, right? So think about for this program, right? I need to get input for monthly rent here, one input only, right? So I can do it here. I get the input here. I get it in the Python, if I get an if I want to use a number, I have to convert it, right? I have to convert it into float here, and sorry, input here is a keyword, right? And jar. What is the integer multi-line? Sorry, input. That's a process. I get it from multi-line, right? So now I can figure out, I convert everything exactly the same here, right? I just copy it here, I paste it here, right? And the last thing, output, right? The output here. I use the meaningful text in the output, and right. Okay. So we see when I run my program, right? So what happened with my program here? I had the header command, right? I use a constant name here instead of divide by 30. I'll think about in the case I use a unnamed constant here, right? I use an unnamed constant here. It's okay for this program. It's very simple. So you can make a guess where the 30 come from. But you can think about if you have very complicated program and in that you have many unnamed constant here, it's very hard for you to follow, right? So should be better you use a name constant here. So see, for this program, I have the prompt here, right? I have the prompt here. I use a meaningful text here. So we see when I run it, it makes more sense to the end user here, right? So see, for this program, right? That should be better. I use this one here. Yes. So think about I enter the 900 here. So daily rent is 30, right? They are variable, they are changeable, right? Think about I put it 1050 here, right? The daily rent is 55, right? So see, I use a prompt here, right? So think about if I do not use a prompt here, if I do not use a prompt here, and I do not have the meaningful text here, and you can see what happened with my program. I see. If I am the end user here, I don't know what I'm supposed to do without the prompt, right? For this program, I know that I have to enter the number for monthly rent here. Think about I have 180,000 here, right? Well, 1,800 here. And you see, it print out 60. So from if you think if you are the end user here, you don't know what the 1,800 come from or what is the 60 here, right? So now to sum it up, remember that from now on, from week number 2, right? I have some action here. Sorry, my expectation here in your program, you need to have header command. That's the first thing, right? You use declaration in that you identify the constant, you identify the variable and the format of variable, right? That's the second thing. The third thing I expect you to do with a prompt here, right? The fourth one I expect to do with you include the meaningful text in your in the output here. And the last thing I forgot to mention, you use the indentation, right? You know that for every program start and stop, and in the body of your program, you have indented at least to one level, and everything after the every constant and variable in the declaration here, you have an indent to one more level here, right? So use indentation, it makes program more understandable, more comprehensive here. Right? So there are some element of the quality program I expect you to do, and I expect you to include it in all the assignment from this week here. Okay, thank you guys.